Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Courtney. Today's video is my first official Christmas video for this Christmas DIY season. Technically, I did do some Christmas DIYs back in July. I will link that video down below if you did not see it. But today kind of starts off the DIY Christmas season for me, so I'm excited to share today's video. I do have 3 quick announcements, but if you want to get straight to the DIY, here is your timestamp. For the rest of you, here are the announcements. So the first thing is I had mentioned the Christmas DIY gift series I'm planning on doing. Basically, I wanted to clarify what that was. So the purpose of this series is for those people that you want to give gifts to, like your neighbors, coworkers, friends. You want to give them a little something but not break the bank. I'm basically going to show you little things, gifts that you can pick up for $1 to $3, do a DIY to it, and make it look like it's worth so much more. So that will be kind of starting in November. The second thing is I'm going to do 8 days of Christmas trees, probably mid-November. At the end of last year, I had 7 different themed trees in my house. Some of them are a little more developed than others, I guess you could say, because let's be honest, it is quite expensive to build a tree from the ground up if you just go out and buy everything for it at once. So I will do a tree each day and basically show you kind of the theme of the tree, as well as any DIYs I did for that tree, whether it's on the tree or perhaps underneath the tree, whether it's a tree skirt or faux presents or things like that. And so some of those days you may get double doses of me because I'll also still be doing my regular DIYs. So lucky you might see me twice in one day. And then the last thing is a live craft with me on my Facebook group. So I put up a question about 2 or 3 weeks ago asking some input. And the first thing we're gonna make is the fabric wrapped Dollar Tree ornaments that I made last year. Here's a picture of some of them that I made. So probably in the next week or 2, I will put up the supply list along with the date and the time, give people about a week or 2 to get everything they need, and then anyone who wants to participate can. So if you're not part of my Facebook group, the link is down below. Just make sure when you hit join group that you do answer the question yes, because if you don't, you'll get declined. So there you go. Those are my announcements. All right, without further ado, guys, let's get into today's Christmas DIY. So the first step is to get some wood slices. I had these on hand. They're actually meant to be ornaments. That's why there's little holes in them, but you can pick them up from Hobby Lobby, or if you don't have these, just get some foam board. You can paint it to look like wood, or even put the wood contact paper over circles of foam board. So I'm just drilling, not all the way through the wood slide, just enough to kind of help my dowel rod just have a little extra support in these wood slices. And then once I get the holes all drilled, I'm going to go ahead and fill them with some of my wood glue. It is hot glue, wood glue, but if you don't have that, just do the wood glue and then let it dry for 24 hours before you start working on the actual tree. As far as the dowels go, I ended up using one of the longer dowels that is in the Dollar Tree craft section now, as well as 2 of the smaller ones, but one of the trees ends up being taller than I expected, so I actually go back in and use a long one. So it kind of just depends on the height of your tree. The longer the dowel rod, the more support your tree will have, but if you want shorter, squattier trees, then I would recommend going ahead and using the short dowel rods. Now I'm ready to work on my trees. So for the large tree, I just grabbed one of these felt ornament kits from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this felt tree as a template to cut my fabric. I always buy all of my fabric from Hobby Lobby, and it's usually always the fabric that they always have on hand. I rarely ever go and get fabric that's on the floor, I guess you could say, of their fabric section. It's usually always that wall where it's kind of color coded. So any fabric that I'm showing here is usually stuff they always have in stock on that wall that's always 30% off. So basically all I'm going to do is take my fabric and just kind of fold it in half, and then I'm going to use the Christmas tree as my template, like I said. And what I'll end up doing is just cutting, I'm gonna pin it down to kind of hold it in place, and then I'm just gonna cut about a ½ inch allowance around this felt tree, and I will tell you why in just a second. So like I said, about a ½ an inch around the tree, and the reason being is I want the edges of this particular tree to have some fray. So that is why I am doing this allowance. Now, if you don't want that, you certainly could trace this design and then cut it out. You don't have to be all wild and nilly like I am being right here, just kind of winging it. But in the end, it turned out exactly how I wanted it. So for this particular tree, the allowance is so that I can kind of pull the little threads and make the edges of the tree all riff-raffy. And once I've cut around the tree, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna pull the pins out, and then I will be ready to start hot gluing my fabric together. To glue my fabric together, I'm going to be using some of the Surebonder fabric sticks. This is a fabric hot glue, and I really like it. And I'll also be using my Precision Tip Surebonder hot glue gun because I absolutely love this glue gun. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to glue right on the edge because, again, I want that fray. So I'm going about 1/4 of an inch in. And I'm just going to do a little string of hot glue and then just kind of smush it down, make sure I kind of get it patted flat so there's no texture left over. And then I'm just going to literally go all the way around the tree doing the same thing. And then my next step will be to go ahead and stuff the tree. Once I get to the bottom of the tree, I am going to go just a little ways in towards the center, making sure to leave the center open so that I can stuff it. Taking some pillow fluff that I had, I'm just going to grab little clumps of this stuffing and kind of pull it apart to kind of make it not so compact. And then I'll grab a dowel rod to kind of help me shove this fluff into the tree, and then I will continue to stuff it until I like the way it looks. Now we are ready to attach the tree. So what I'm doing is taking some of the fabric hot glue and spreading it all over the dowel, and then I'm just slipping the tree down over the dowel. Now, I didn't show this on camera, but before I did this step, basically what I did is I did slip the tree on the dowel and kind of made like a little canal, I guess you could say, tunnel, I don't know what you want to call it, tunnel, I guess, through the batting so that when I went to shove it down right now, it goes on there. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. But anyway, so basically now I'm just going to close this up with the fabric hot glue again, and you can kind of add stuffing, you can take it away, whatever you need to do. And it's super secure, like it works great. So this one, as far as assembling it, is almost finished. Tree is assembled, and now this is where I'm just going to go through and just kind of pull the strings all along the edge to get that frayed look that I really wanted for this tree. So at this point, I kind of went back and forth whether or not I wanted to paint these dowels with the brown cream wax. It's the deep brown that I got from Hobby Lobby by Deco Art. And so right now I think I'm going to do it, and then I was like, no, I think I'm going to leave it natural, but I don't end up showing it on camera. I do end up going and just doing kind of one quick coat over all the dowels. But of course, if you want to get a natural wood look, you could just use actual twigs from your yard. So at this point, I think to myself, I was going to take some of these little presents from Dollar Tree and unwrap them, and then go back in and wrap them with some brown packing paper that you can get from Dollar Tree as well, and put these little, brown paper packages tied up with string kind of deal underneath these trees. But in the end, I don't end up doing that, but I did just want to show you there is this option. You will see me mess around with some wood blocks, thinking I want to use those as presents, but when it's all said and done, I don't end up putting anything on the base, but you certainly could. For the next tree, I am gonna wing it. So I kind of wanted one that was a little bit rounded, so I just kind of went to town here, just cutting what I think I wanted it to look like, and luckily it turned out how I wanted it to. So again, if you're not into winging things, you certainly could draw this on a piece of paper, draw a pattern out, and then just go ahead and pin it down and cut around your twine bow at the base of the tree, and eventually all three trees will end up with this. But I'm not gonna lie, right now at this point my brain was all over the place because there's just so many options of how you can embellish these. I wanted them each to be a little bit different but still be tied together, so let me show you what I did to each of the trees. So for this tree right here, I pulled out my little button stash and went through all the different options of buttons. And eventually I just ended up hot gluing 4 little cream colored buttons to this cream colored tree. All right, and then here are the little wooden blocks I told you about. These big ones came from Hobby Lobby, but these small ones were sold, that I just set down right there, are sold at Dollar Tree. So here I'm kind of figuring out if I want to do that. Then for this tree, I finally committed and made a decision that I was going to glue one of these little wooden stars to the top of it. I got this huge pack of stars, I don't know, a couple years ago from Hobby Lobby, and I'm still going through it. Like, there's so many. So I'm just going to hot glue the star to the top, and then this tree is finished. The last tree, I wanted to put a beaded garland on it. I buy all my beads from Amazon. I will link down below the ones that I always get. And I just used 2 different size beads and I put them just on twine. And then all I'm going to do basically is just kind of work in these 3 different sections. I will secure one section to the back using my fabric hot glue and then kind of wrap it around, secure it to the back again. And then I will go in and take some little pieces of fabric to kind of make the backs not look so crazy, because I just don't like super messy backs. Even though this is going to be against a wall, in my mind, I will know that the back looks a little better than it would if I had just left the glue blobs and strings hanging everywhere. You get what I'm saying. And there you go. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Please leave a comment down below if there's something special you would like to see in this Christmas DIY season. And until the next video, I will see you later. Stay tuned for some DIY shoutouts.